We don't talk about Arkham Horror a lot on this channel, but it is a game I greatly enjoy. It's one I need to stream more often, and hopefully can soon. But it's a great game, and they seem to be coming out with an expansion about once a year-ish, like a main expansion. And that's what we're going to talk about with the Feast of Hemlock, or the Feast of Hemlock Vale campaign expansion, the Feast of Hemlock Vale Investigator expansion. Now, I'm not like an expert on Arkham Horror or anything, so I won't be able to dive like super deep into it or anything like that. But I figured we just talk a little bit about it and talk a little bit about the expansions, and let's go through the product page about it. All right, so here's the announcement page. They kind of go over the whole story and all this fun stuff. Kind of what's going on. And just like the previous two waves, Edge of the Earth and Scarlet Keys, you will find only player cards within the Investigator expansion, while the Snare and campaign content is contained in the campaign expansion, right? They're continuing this release cycle, which I think has been really good for Arkham, so it's pretty cool. And I definitely like it. So they talk about the new heroes. Kate is one of them, or Investigators, not heroes, sorry. I'm too used to Marvel Champions at this point. 2424 stat line. You begin the game with Flex Stabilizer, inactive side face up. Which I think they have. Here we go. Flex Stabilizer, permanent asset that you control. And then after a clue is placed on Flex Stabilizer, search your bonded cards or discard pile for one copy of Atheric current and shuffle it into your deck, and then you flip this card over, right? And then the other side of it is a permanent. When you place a clue on asset you control, get +2 value for your next skill test of this phase, right? Pretty cool mechanic they got going on. And then with her, she can move one clue from Kate from herself to a science or tool asset you control with no clues on it. Force when an asset you control with a clue on it leaves play, place its clue on your location. And then for the success effect +0, you may move one clue from an asset you control back to Kate. So it's kind of interesting how that's kind of moving around and doing this fun stuff. I'm not going to go super into the investigators because, again, I'm not like super great with it all. I mean, just to be like completely honest with all of it. I think there's some interesting things that you could do. When I just glance through, I have very basic ideas of what I could deck build around these cards and what I could do with them. So like I said, I'm not going to go crazy into them or anything like that. And then they have Hank, which seems pretty interesting, right? At 3153 investigator. You may be assigned damage and horror dealt to ally assets or other investigators at your location. When you would be defeated by damage or horror, instead heal all your damage and horror and swap this card with its bonded resolute version either side up, which is pretty interesting, right? Is it this one? Yeah, so it switches to this one where his stat goes from a 3153 to a 3344, and then it's bonded. You cannot be healed. You may be assigned, damage and horror dealt to ally assets or other investigators at your location. When one or more horror is placed on you, you get to draw a card. Move one horror from Hank to an asset you control, right? And then there's the Warden version of his Resolute one, right? So like this, it looks like Hank can do a lot of things. Like I said, this is why, like, I think Arkham Horror's deck building is just being taken to another level. What the investigators can do is being taken to another level. They really improved upon these with the last few boxes. They've done some really cool stuff with this, and it's just something. One of those things like I said, I need to get better at deck building with this game. I really do. Because it's gotten to the point where in the past I could like kind of fumble my way through scenarios and do okay. And now I need to actually be much better. So, but anyway, those are some of the cards that they're showing off, which is pretty interesting. I think they're cool. Feel free down in the comments to talk a lot more about it. I'm sure there's more people in the community that know a lot more about it than I do. Now, what I did want to focus on is the new campaign expansion. So for those that don't know, I did not enjoy the past two campaigns. I thought Edge of the Earth was not fun at all. I did not enjoy Edge of the Earth. I have played it twice now, and if I never play it again, that will be too soon. There was just nothing I enjoyed about it. Just to be as blunt as possible, I thought the maps were way too big. I didn't enjoy playing the same map 3 times in a row in the beginning, right? I didn't enjoy the story. I think the story was very good. I didn't enjoy any of it. I really did not enjoy like really any of it. Well, that's not 100% true. There's like a few little bright spots here and there that were fine, but overall, I enjoy reading that much. Then Scarlet Keys, I thought was a little bit better, but I didn't like the idea of just like, all right, the world is open, go do what you want, right? The sense of no direction. it's a cool idea, right? It's a cool idea that you can basically go wherever you want and you just kind of do your thing or whatever. But it felt like I had a very disjointed story. Like I felt like it was just like a lot of small little stories were being told to me that didn't feel like connected at all. So, and it made sense because it's very hard to design a game where it all feels connected when you're allowing people to kind of go wherever they want. So it has to be a little bit vague. So it just felt like I was going like all these like side stories or side missions, and I didn't really enjoy that. So I was a little bit worried about this box because it's been two in a row that, I mean, I really didn't enjoy. Scarlet Keys I would go back to eventually. And to be fair, the Edge of the Earth I'm sure I'll play again at some point in the future, just way in the future. But Scarlet Keys, at least there was a better shot at me playing again. And again, both of them had a ton of text. This one, though, what I like about this is that the story of Hemlock Vale begins with the investigation or with an invitation from Dr. Rosa Marquette, right? This is her card, and who asked you and your fellow investigators to accompany her to a mysterious Hemlock Isle, where strange things have been happening to the environment and the wildlife. At the same time, the people of the local village of Hemlock Vale are preparing for a festival, a feast that, for the first time, has caused the once closed off isle to be open to visitors. Cool. Everyone is welcome, including you. Just don't go after dark. Things might get out. Things might turn out a bit grisly. So you might have to do just that, though. In this campaign, the story takes place over 3 days and 3 nights, and your party must decide what to investigate on those days and nights. So I already like that. Like it's very just like 6 things it should be essentially right now. It might be a bit more after that, like there might be things that happen on the side, and I hope they don't take that too much to the extreme. But if it's just 6 scenarios, I think that, or like 6 scenarios, then like a finale, so like a 7th one, I think that's cool. But if they start doing like, okay, yeah, it's like day 1, and then let me do like a side story for day 1, and like another side story for day 1, and then a side story for day 1 night, and then, like they hopefully they don't overdo it, but I hope it's true where it's just like you basically play 6 or 7 scenarios, and that's it. Right. And we'll get into more why I don't mind that in a second. There are more areas that you have time to survey during your stay on the island, and the events of the story will change depending on which scenarios you choose to play. So again, there could be a ton of scenarios, but each day you should only be allowed to focus on like one thing at a time. Each scenario plays differently depending on which day night you choose to play it, which already gives this campaign a ton of replayability. But there's another factor at work here that will make your experience completely unique: the residents. And it shows a bunch of residence cards. Hemlock Vale is a living, breathing village where you can build relationships with the residents throughout the campaign. At certain moments during or between scenarios, you may, and again, this is like the little thing that's weird with between scenarios. Again, I hope they don't like dive too deep into it where like you're like playing a whole long thing. I hope it's just like very small stuff. You may be called on to increase or decrease the resident's relationship level, which naturally will affect how they interact with you later in the campaign. If your relationship level with someone is good enough, they may even become your ally during certain scenarios. On the flip side, if you offend someone or fail to nurture your bond with them, they may end up trying harder to hinder you instead. With so many residents and mysteries to contend with, you and your party will have your work cut out for you. So there's at least what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different people at minimum, which I think is pretty cool, right? That's even if it's only 9, I think that's really solid. Like it's a really solid story important. So the designers only get more ambitious with each wave. With so many different paths the story may take, you'll want to revisit the village over and over. Get ready to survey the isle, and when the expansions come out in January and February, respectively. So, like I said, I was not a big fan of the past 2 expansions. I did not enjoy them. I did not think they were great because they were so expensive, because there were so many directions you could go, because there was just so much going on, so many moving parts. I'm hoping that this brings things back down a little bit, where it's a little more focused in the sense that it's only 3 days and 3 nights. It's really like 6 scenarios, maybe a 7th one, 8 max. But it's only gonna be a handful of scenarios. But each time you play through the game is a completely unique experience. And I think that's really cool. I think that could be a really cool way of doing things, because this idea of like, okay, we're gonna create a whole sprawling universe, and you see 3/4 of it your first playthrough, but when you play through it again, you have to go through like all this boring stuff that you don't want to do, or all these scenarios you don't want to do. That's less fun. I think there's a lot of potential for this campaign. It's one that, while reading this, like the other ones I was kind of excited for when they were announced and whatnot. This one I'm really excited for. I think this is gonna be really good. I have a lot of hope for this, that this will kind of bring everything back. And again, I think it's okay for Arkham Horror to do simple campaigns again, right? I think with each iteration they try to make it bigger and better, and bigger and better isn't always actually better, right? Like making things just bigger for the sake of bigger doesn't mean it's better than the previous ones. It really doesn't. So I'm hoping that by them doing it this way, that yes, there'll be a ton of content, it's a ton of replayability, but it'll be like a tighter overall campaign in general. That's at least my hope for it. I don't know if it will be. If it isn't, and this is just kind of like the last two all over again, and it's more sprawling than what it sounds like, then I don't know. I might be done buying new stuff from Arkham, to be completely honest. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's my only worry about this, because the last two I didn't, like I said, I didn't enjoy. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments, right? If you play Arkham Horror, what are your thoughts about this? Let me know your thoughts about the investigators too, because like I said, I'm not as good with investigators, so I don't know what I should be looking for and all that fun stuff. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about this campaign. And if you made it this far in this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. See y'all next time.